expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
Let's get ready to rumble! Y'all ready for this?
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Time with Blind United. Of course, you guys know by now, I'm Ed, and I'm joined with Pedro this morning, and we do have our guest with us, Konnie. Good morning, Konnie.
Hello, can you hear me? I hope so.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. So anyway, let me get to this right quick. Just in case anybody was wondering, it's the end of the month. So as far as our interest groups are concerned, we're just cleaning out the month. We got one interest group left for the end of this month, and that will be on Friday. That's our movie night. And we'll be taking care of that on Friday. So anyway, moving right along, Konnie, so why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, my name is Konnie Ellis, and I'm totally blind, and I grew up on a ranch border between North and South Dakota, and I have 3 siblings who are also blind, and my identical twin sister, and then like 9 years later, our brother Rory came along, and now he's a famous musician in Nashville. 3 years later, our brother Reed came along, and he now lives in Texas, so we're spread all over the place.
Okay.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah.
So what's your vision impairment, Konnie? I'm sorry.
I have light perception, and that's about it.
I mean, what is any diagnosis? We got all different kind of people.
Libra amaurosis, I think, or something like that. It's not one you hear about every day.
I was going to say, it sounds pretty new to me.
Yeah, what was
congenital.
that from? Oh, okay.
So we were just all born that way. Yep.
Oh, okay. It's from birth. Okay, great. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's something that evidently must be hereditary?
Yes.
It must be, because all my siblings are the same way, so...
Okay.
Yeah, something similar with RP also. It's a mutated gene that runs that if both parents has it, the child will be born with RP. It might be similar to her disability also. Was your both parents blind, or they were all vision?
Nope, they were sighted, and nobody else in our extended family had any difficulties before we came along.
Okay, yeah. So it might be something similar. And you say you have light perception. Are you able to identify colors by any chance? Oh, okay.
Nope, no colors.
Okay. Oh, okay. No colors. Okay. So it's just like People say it's like a fishbowl, right? I think for some it may be like a fishbowl. A fishbowl. For me, I actually have like I can't see no shapes, no nothing, just a light. I can't even see the shape of that, like the color, but
Exactly.
it's just on my side, my peripheral, and it looks like a little, just a little bright spot. Everything else is like black. I don't see like what they per se
Oh,
fishbowl
interesting. Huh.
fogginess.
Wow.
Hmm. And
Oh,
yourself?
weird. Huh. Nope, I just see just and people always say, well, then if you close your eyes, is it black? And like, not really, because I don't know anything about colors. It's just the absence of light or dark, I guess.
Oh
Right.
wow. Okay, that's a different perspective right there.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean black either because I myself have no vision, no light perception anymore. And
Hmm.
mine is more of a, what we want to call it, a two shades of gray kind of, like a smoke gray and then a
Huh.
cloud gray, so
Oh.
it's not necessarily black, black, and I know what
Right.
black looks like,
Right.
You're
Exactly.
right about
Yeah.
that.
so, well, I
To
mean,
ask us like what it was it like to be, but for us, we never knew any different. So it's just kind of normal life.
right, 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 right. And I understand. Okay, so,
Hmm.
well, I guess let's get to why you're here. You want to talk about your YouTube channel, which you have
Yeah,
named Gliding Through Blindness.
that's right. I just started it a few weeks ago. Um, and I've always kind of had in the back of my mind in recent years, after my kids grew up and everything, to have a YouTube channel. While they were younger, though, I was pretty busy with them. I homeschooled my kids and I homeschooled other people's kids and did tutoring and stuff. And then when my kids got older, I started doing some transcription work, but I always kind of thought I would like to do a channel. And then just recently, I heard about these Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. And I was thinking how much easier it would be to do a channel if I had something like that where the viewers could see things through the view of my glasses without me having to hold a phone just right and focus on things and stuff like that. And so that's what kind of really got me thinking that maybe there is a way for me to do this easily now. And then shortly after that, I started hearing, or about the same time, I've started hearing about this glide device from Glidance that Amos Miller is founding. And I was
Oh,
really
we're very,
into that device.
yeah,
You've heard of
we're
it too.
both we're both very familiar with Amos. We've had him here on Coffee Time with us, and
Awesome.
as well as I am what he's calling me now, a founding, well, I
Yep,
don't know,
me too.
whatever.
A founding, yeah, right. We're going to be one of the first people to get it.
Right, right. Well, with the first opportunity to get it, I mean,
Yes. Yeah, right.
so, so we'll see how that all plays out. But okay,
Yeah.
so what kind of things you do on your channel?
So that then once I heard about the glide device, I thought, sorry, excuse me, I thought how fun it would be to, like, once I get the device to demo it, now that I have my smart glasses and everything, and just go all over and help to promote it and things like that. So I was kind of thinking about that initially when I named my channel Gliding Through Blindness. But I just have discussed a lot of things already, like, I have about 7 videos up there now, I think. The first one just talking about like how I came by that name and the multiple different meanings of like gliding through blindness. And I've done a video about my siblings and I growing up on our ranch. And just last weekend, I was actually at the ranch. So I did a video about that and about the unique riding area we're building out there with tiles. It's going to be like the size of a tennis field, and it's just going to be where blind people can ride bikes or scooters or drifter carts or whatever, and without any fear of running into anything, just have a wide open space, kind of like a gymnasium or something, but it's outside. And so I demonstrated that. And what else have I talked about? I talked about Neuralink. I'm kind of intrigued with that and possibly getting my sight one day and just what that might be like. I read Mike May's book, Crashing Through. Have either of you read that?
Maybe Pedro. I'm no.
No.
He's more the
Uh,
science guy.
yeah, I am familiar of the Neuralink and its capabilities and its expectancy of what it can do to cure blindness. It will still have to
Mm-hmm.
connect through a camera and submit
Yep,
those frequencies into your visual cortex and things like that. But
exactly.
it's still they still just like it's an iPhone 1 right now. So
Ye-
it's the first
Yep.
generation. We have to wait along and see what can it do. But it's been implanted into more people and more people. I know they just doubled how many little I call them fibers, but they call them little things that go into your brain. So they just doubled
Mm-hmm.
up on that. They also have a competitor that just doubled on what Tesla is doing with their Neuralink. So we have competition within the field. So with
Mm-hmm.
competition, we could expect, more advancements. But that will be great, especially for people that are they can't walk or they can't even move their body. I know there was this man that they implanted in the device, and he couldn't even move his hands, nothing, just his eyes, and he was able to control a mouse on a computer and play a chess game with someone.
Yep, that's pretty awesome what they're able to do nowadays, and it'll just keep getting better from here. I love this age that we're living in with so much technology at our fingertips.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is true. That is true. I am a techie. Man, I love my tech and stuff, but yeah, it's progressing. We have multiple things on the frontier. I know they're working on a bionic retina and nerves like that, stem cells. I'd
Hmm.
rather go more of a traditional way of getting my vision back than depend on some external vision source like some glasses. I would like
Hmm.
to retain my vision the normal way. Um, because they said the way you might see with these devices might be slightly different, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah, and
But
that's kind of what I was reading about in this biography of Mike that Mike May wrote many about 20 years ago now. So it didn't really have anything to do with the Neuralink, but he did get his sight back, at least some of it, probably comparatively not that much, but compared to what he had before, which was zero, he had there was just a change, and he invented the soundscape. If you guys have heard of that,
yeah,
the app.
Another thing that Amos had a place of too.
But yeah,
well, they
his
were
book
on the
was just very
Microsoft.
interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
they
his
was they
book
was
just talked. Oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
no, I
Didn't
was
mean
just
to
gonna
talk
say
over you.
they both were working on the Microsoft team at the time, I guess.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, but I was just gonna say, like he was talking about in his book how he actually had to learn to see. I mean, it wasn't just all of a sudden one minute you were blind and the next you could see, because he, even after he got his vision, he didn't know what most things were. He really had to stop and dissect it, and he was really tempted, like he wanted to touch everything first, and then once he touched it, then he was able to, oh, okay, very carefully look at it and figure out what it was. But it was a really, so I kind of think it might be similar, like for people that were blind, that especially born blind, never exercise that part of their brain, so they just really have to learn how to see. I think it would be a gradual process.
Yes, yes, you're right about that. That's why they're choosing people that had sight before.
Hmm.
Yeah, because
Yeah, well, I think this the guy that has the Neuralink now is a quadriplegic.
mhm.
But Elon Musk now has a patient registry where he's looking for people totally blind. So I'm signing up for that for sure, because I really want to see if he's able to do that. It seems kind of amazing that he could, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. With the different technologies they have now, you could do it not technology. You could do it
Mhm.
technical, or you could do it more of a natural. But it
Right?
it is advancing. The future does look promising. Even guidance technology to have a AI guide you around. That seems really promising. Sounds like some tech I could get into too. But yeah, guys, so all that is coming to the forefront pretty soon. They're advancing. The more successful and the more they continue with their success, the more it's gonna get. The more they're gonna have in terms of what they could do. Right now, I know they're limited because they got oversight of the government a little bit,
Yeah,
and it's the
regulations, which
medical,
are important, but
which are important for our safety.
right. But yeah, I also think it's just really important to have a good attitude or to have the right attitude about your expectations, like keep them realistic. Like in Crashing Through, that book I was talking about by Mike Mayhew, they mentioned like other people that had regained their sight, and a lot of times it wasn't a positive experience for them because they just thought the world would be all this beautiful place and that their lives would just be so great, but yet like they thought, oh, there were some ugly parts that they had to encounter and see too, and like their whole lives changed in a lot of ways. The dynamics of just everything about your life would, a lot of them would change, and you had, so it'd be really something you have to adapt to. And but Mike's attitude about getting his vision, which I really agree with, is just he was just curious to see what would happen. I mean, so if nothing would have happened, he really wouldn't have been that disappointed, because he just had a really active life before that, and just really good life. And so just, yeah, we'll make it, if possible, we'll make it a little better, but if not, really no big deal, and we'll just kind of see what happens along the journey. So I think that kind of attitude is a lot better.
Okay, okay. And I have a question about your YouTube channel. It's more of a blogging. What did you try to concentrate on?
Yeah, I have a lot of different interests. So like before I even started, I just sat down and wrote a lot of different topics, and I came up with like more than 100 different things without even stopping, that I could potentially discuss.
Okay.
Like I could do demonstrate apps, like or do tutorials on different websites and things like that, or I could educate sighted people on what it's like to be blind and some of the techniques we use or whatever. And I'll just also, I'm really interested in technology, and like sometimes I might read an interesting article on there about what I think the future is going to be like, and discuss that. And yeah, so you just never know.
Yeah, okay, okay. And and on the visual side, because I know it's video, are you how um do with these Ray-Ban glasses you're able to focus on what you're seeing and stuff like that? Or
Yep,
you use
it
other.
makes it a lot better. That's like you were saying too. Technology, like even it might be possible in the future for people to basically not even need like their, like if they just had a pair of glasses that could see like even 10 times better than a sighted person. That would be kind of cool. But
Well,
yeah, I just really like them because they have a lot of features. Like you can just say, "Hey Meta, look and tell me what you see," and it will describe the scene in front of you. And like now I also have Be My Eyes, that app, on my desktop. So like before I came on the show today, I asked it like, am I a good distance away from the camera, and do my clothes look good, and so on and so forth. And you can just ask it follow-up questions. And a year ago we didn't have any of this type of thing, so it's just amazing.
Yeah, we just demoed that last night on George's tech group,
Uh-huh.
Jaws Tips and Tricks.
yes, yes,
Awesome.
that's our tips and tricks for Jaws. Brought to you by George Zavala. He donates his time, so we do have different
Wow.
interest groups. I actually run the iPhone class. I do intermediate
Cool.
and beginners, but I get into some advanced stuff. But that's more. I'm more on the
Right.
beginner side because that's what our crowd is.
Hmm.
Um, I do a lot. I actually also have my own YouTube channel, Unseen Adventures 8.
Hmm,
So I do different tactics to get
very
myself
good.
in the middle, record scenes and other things like that. So, I know visual is one of the biggest parts when
Mm-hmm.
you're actually making content on YouTube. We gotta think of the visuals, and even on
Yep.
TikTok, because I'm on both platforms and stuff like that. I got multiple channels, but that aside, yes, making sure you're in the middle, making sure you're getting your object in center and stuff, things like that. I
Mm-hmm.
know that you you might have come and encounter those problems. I know I have. I resolved
Yep.
some of those problems with different type of technologies, and even even the iPhone comes in handy to steady myself in the camera. Um, I'm able to get live descriptions and all that. So that kind of helps when I'm setting up for a shot. I consider the room too. I picture the room in my head. So I go through different steps, and I know you may be go through different steps to center yourself to get your object in center also.
Yep.
And
Yep, I'm learning all that, and IRA was a big help for me getting started because I just called them and asked the agent anything I wanted to know, like what height should I have this or stuff like that. So yeah, I'm getting a pretty good feel for it as we progress along here.
Just
okay.
so you guys know, George has joined us. If you didn't notice the extra background noise,
Good morning, George. How you
Okay,
doing?
cool.
I don't got no background noise. What are you talking about,
yes,
Will?
you do.
Do I? What do I have? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
sir.
It's white noise. It's a little bit of white noise. That's all it is.
I'll find my mic.
Yes, white noise with bass.
Yeah, but it went away.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, we're here with our guest George. Any questions? He's a content creator on YouTube. She has her own channel. Guidance. I'm actually blanking on the name.
Gliding through blindness.
There you
There
go.
you
Thank you,
go.
Ed. Gliding through blindness, guys. Follow and subscribe for her. Show your support. She's bringing another view of our blindness spectrum to visual people. This is what I try to do. I try to educate visually people, and I know I do got subscribers that are visually impaired, so I do describe my items. I do describe scenes and stuff, and when I can, I put descriptive audio. You know, but that aside, it's for bringing awareness to the sighted that they shouldn't be scared to approach us when they see us in public. Just bring up a
Hmm.
conversation. Don't act weird. Sometimes sighted people, I don't want to put them on the spot, but they act weird when they come around us
They
sometimes,
do, I know.
and
Yep, I recently did a video all about different travel techniques and comparing and contrasting like the pros and cons of each one, like using a cane and using a guide dog, and then in the future, hopefully using this glide device. And I talked about probably like I've never been a dog user, but I think one of the advantages to that is people somehow see you as being more approachable and they'll probably talk to you more or at least talk about the dog, and that might be an icebreaker or whatever. But even with this new glide device, I'm sure that's going to get a lot of looks from people because it'll be totally foreign to them, and it will have cameras on it, and people just wonder why, because at first they won't even realize we're blind behind this glide
yes,
device, so they'll wonder like what is that thing for. So that will,
yes,
yeah, we'll have to
yes,
probably do some educating.
yeah. But even then, I know how they say, "Oh, you don't need your cane." I would carry my cane just to let you
Hmm.
know this is a new device.
Exactly, especially
Anybody's
for watching or
driving.
crossing a street. Yeah.
Well, if
You know
somebody's
what,
driving and
Pedro?
never
I've
seen
already
this
decided.
device, hmm
Mhm.
You know what, Pedro?
well,
I've already decided. I'm gonna put me a sheath on the audit for my cane.
hmm
My cane is going to be part of what I do. I mean, again, it's just I've been using my cane for so long.
of course,
Yes, I'm going to trust the device, but at the same time, number one, if I'm not sure, then I can reach out and feel it with my cane.
of
Right.
Number
course.
Yep.
two, if the battery runs dead, I got my backup.
Right.
And number three, an important one. This is like I was saying, this is a new device. Number three, you're gonna need that cane so everybody that has vision knows you're blind. They don't know what this device is yet. So always be aware of that. I would
I
like you
probably
guys.
wouldn't use it all the time. I'd probably just have it folded up in my purse or whatever because I would want one hand free for something else.
Of course, but
But
you could have your cane
yeah, exactly
visually
for those important
clamped on your
times. Yeah.
device,
Right.
because you
Oh, I
don't
don't
want to
like
run
hooked to
into.
it somehow. I
Yeah,
wonder.
somehow,
Maybe.
because if you run into an incident, the driver could say, "I didn't know she was blind. She just had this. I don't
Right.
know what this
And then they'll
is."
sue you.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But just to be on the safe side, I wouldn't like nothing to happen to any of our blind folks in our community for
My
not.
sister was wondering, we actually had a call with Amos, my siblings and I, and she asked, is there a way that there could be a pop out sign on the device or whatever, that whenever you're about to cross the street you could just like push this button and a sign would come out telling people I'm blind or whatever. So I don't know, we'll see.
Well, yeah, that be required more
Yeah,
within
more
the
engineering.
creating the stage, more engineering,
Uh-huh.
a screen panel that could display those words or something like. I don't think it's gonna pop out like a little flag. I'm blind, but see,
Right.
you gotta be aware, and you cannot leave everything to the device.
No,
You
come up
need
with our
to,
own
as a person.
ideas.
Yeah, well, as your own person, you need to be aware of what you're doing when you're crossing.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the right time to cross, you need to be aware of everything that's going on. Just
Yep.
like my cane is my primary tool, my senses are my number one primary tool, you know?
Right.
So with any
Mm-hmm.
type of device, you have to be careful. You have to be aware, even if a little wording comes out on blind, but if somebody's on your left trying to turn into the right, trying to turn into the street that
True.
you're trying to cross, they won't be able to see
They
that.
might not
So
see it.
just
Yeah.
having your cane displayed or a cane sheath on your waistband or something like that
Mm-hmm.
could alert them and let them know that you're visually impaired.
Well, I do have
I'm
a
just
question.
saying, you know.
Yep, that's a good idea.
I have a
But yeah.
Uh,
question.
go ahead, George.
Were you
Talking about the visual context to using the cane, which I've used the cane myself for many years. I'm not a dog user. Excuse me, I'm not a dog user, but I'm just
mhm.
if someone sees me with the cane, do I have to identify it with a flag or? Because if I'm crossing the street, you don't see me. You don't see me. You're not going to see a little sign.
Well, the thing out there talking about, George, is the fact that the glide doesn't look like a cane.
No, no, that's what I'm
So
saying. But
people won't.
if someone's using a device that is unknown, I get that.
Hmm.
But like Mr. Pedro was saying, and I think we had mentioned this before, I'm not sure I came in late, Miss Connie, but we should, as a blind community, don't depend on the technology, especially if it's new. For example, this new Be My Eyes for the desktop, it's clunky, it's kind of cluttered. So this new technology, we got to be careful. Like Pedro was saying, or I think Mr. Davis, use our secondary device, which is a BR
Yeah,
cane.
always double check. Yep.
Because for example, if you were like, "Oh, I'm confident in my glide, I'm going to walk with it and go with it," and you're half your destination, that thing gives out for whatever reason. Uh, I wish you luck. So that's we have to use common sense sometimes,
Hmm.
because we're walking out there with a new device, and I'm not going to put myself at jeopardy or anyone else. And when I say anyone else, it is a new device, and we have to be cognizant of that and understand that people, what is that? You know, but at the end of the day, technology, folks, I'll tell you what, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, stuff like this was non-existent, and it's cool now. I could just imagine another 5 years where we're going to be at. So that's a
Exactly.
neat
Well,
idea.
well, well, with technology, they have a ratio is a 1.6 ratio, meaning like 1 year in like 6 months, our technology,
Yeah.
our capability doubles. So
Yep.
even
I've heard
within
that.
5 years, it's gonna be far out that we might not even be able to tell. I don't know if soon it might come to a singular point, little by little, but I will believe like after time, it has to slow down somewhat. But we're opening new different technologies, meaning like connectivity to our bio system, like meaning connecting stuff to our brain. Those tattoos that have electrodes, I don't know if you've seen those, and you could have a
Mm-mm.
screen like kind of on your hand and it's like a phone. These is our
Oh.
new type of tattoo. So we're in a new horizon that we're gonna slightly and surely. And I know it's not slowing down, but we might combine technology with our biology and stuff like that. But we have to be careful with that too, even with that.
Right.
But
Exactly.
I'm
Yep.
saying our technology is moving, and then it's moving into different spectrums. But eventually, we might have to slow down. But since I've been listening to um these presentations of these scientists, things might progress faster. They actually found how to have a craft in space, well, in our space, meaning it could be in the air, it could be in outer space, wherever. And in theory, nothing makes this craft slow down, so you could accelerate as fast as you want. Gravity that has no effect. So our technology is expanding all types of different ways. And oh man, from the things that I listen to and read, it's way out there. Yeah, it's way out
Uh,
there.
just to acknowledge Paul in the comments. Good morning, Brother Paul. He said he's finding our conversation interesting.
Awesome.
All right,
Okay.
Paul. Good morning.
So we're going to take a little pause for the cause right quick, Connie, and we'll be right back on the other side of these brief commercial things we got going on here.
Great.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United.
Unleash your creativity and spice up your senses at the Blind United Turn It Up and Paint event. Join us on June 22nd from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. in Fontana, California for an afternoon filled with art, flavor, and fun. For just $30, get your own canvas and paint kit, enjoy delicious carne asada nachos, other tasty appetizers, and receive a coupon for one of 3 Turn It Up items to use at the event. Don't miss out on this unique experience brought to you by Blind United under the leadership of our CEO, Ed Davis. It's not just an event, it's a celebration of creativity and community. Secure your spot now. Call us at 1-909-846-8825 or email info@blindunited.org. We can't wait to see you there and watch your creativity soar.
All right, guys, and we're back.
Okay. Just so folks listening in, I know that was the first time you guys heard a commercial about the color party. I'm sorry, not the color party, the Turn It Up and Paint celebration, but those will have a tactile image there, and you just have to fill in. So it ain't about, you trying to create something. It's just having fun, trying to, like back in the old days when we used to sit down as kids and break out our coloring book. Just try to stay inside the lines.
Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir.
Did I hear carne asada? Nachos?
Yes, sir.
Holy snikes. All right, cool. I want to just fly out there to California just for that.
Okay, well, you'd be more than welcome, my brother.
Yeah, George, we'd love to have you over here. You and your wife.
Well, no, that part right there. You cannot come without Miss Lulu.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. I'll bring her to, of course. She's the boss.
All right. So, well, Connie, did you guys got any other questions about her and her channel, or?
How do you subscribe if I wanted to look for you, Miss Connie?
It's called Gliding Through Blindness. So if you just do a search on YouTube, you should find it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, on that note, Connie, you are welcome to hang out. We do have a few articles. We're going to try to get into at least one or two of them, and you're more than welcome to hang out and comment on what we do on the second half of our show. So, Pedro, take it away.
I have another meeting coming up, unfortunately, but it's been great being here, and I really thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. I think we got the same meeting. I'll be there at 10 o'clock.
Thank you. There you go. See ya.
All right. You have a great day.
Okay.
Okay, Pedro.
All right, let's go, guys.
In major change, college athletes set to be paid directly by schools. The NCAA and major conferences agreed to a settlement that would establish a revenue-sharing model for athletes beginning in the fall of 2025, though many steps remain to finalize the arrangement. The NCAA and its 5 power conferences have approved a deal that paves the way for schools to pay athletes directly, a change that would crush any last notions of amateurism in major college sports. The agreement, which settles 3 antitrust cases and was voted on throughout this week, includes almost $2.8 billion in damages. That money will be distributed to current and former athletes who sued in House v. NCAA over not being compensated for the use of their name, image, and likeness, nil, on television broadcasts. In a joint statement Thursday night, the NCAA and its conferences announced that they had agreed to the initial terms. And no matter how high the damages are, the most far-reaching component of the settlement is a new revenue-sharing model, which would pay athletes a cut of money their schools generate from broadcast rights deals, ticket sales, and sponsorships, among other streams. Should the settlement go through, revenue sharing probably would begin at the start of the 2025 to 26 academic year, a seismic shift considering how long the NCAA has refused to have schools compensate athletes. Yet many steps remain before that can happen. First, the plaintiffs have to approve the agreement to settle House along with Hubbard v. NCAA and Carter v. NCAA. Once that happens, lawyers on each side will spend the coming weeks hammering out the finer settlement details, including key points on revenue sharing. Judge Claudia Wilkin, who presided over major college sports cases such as O'Bannon v. NCAA and Alston v. NCAA, would then call a hearing to review the settlement terms. First, the plaintiffs have to approve the agreement to settle House along with Hubbard v. NCAA and Carter v. NCAA. Once that happens, lawyers on each side will spend the coming weeks hammering out the finer settlement details, including key points on revenue sharing. Judge Claudia Wilkin, who presided over major college sports cases such as O'Bannon v. NCAA and Alston v. NCAA, would then call a hearing to review the settlement terms. If Wilkin approves, current athletes will have a chance to object or opt out of the agreement. Then, as a final step, Wilkin would consider any objections before making her final decision. Attorneys estimate the whole process could take between 6 and 8 months. The 5 autonomy conferences and the NCAA agreeing to settlement terms is an important step in the continuing reform of college sports that will provide benefits to student athletes and provide clarity in college athletics across all divisions for years to come, the NCAA and conferences said in their joint statement. This settlement is also a roadmap for college sports leaders and Congress to ensure this uniquely American institution can continue to provide unmatched opportunity for millions of students. On Wednesday, the NCAA's Board of Governors voted to implement the settlement terms. It was a landmark moment in that, though they had been heavily prodded, the NCAA's top decision-makers approved a system for schools to directly pay athletes. The SEC and Pac-12, the last of the 5 conferences to vote, approved the settlement Thursday. The defendants in House, the most significant of the cases, were the NCAA, SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, ACC, and Pac-12. If Wilkin ultimately approves the settlement, the NCAA would reshape its budget to account for 40% of the nearly $2.8 billion in damages owed to the former athletes who sued. The other 60% would be paid by schools across the next decade, most notably through the NCAA withholding some of its March Madness revenue distributions each year. Beyond revenue sharing, the settlement could also establish a new model for at least the power conferences to make and enforce their own rules, according to Yahoo. It's just another sign of how stratified college sports are in 2024. As for the revenue sharing cap, the exact number and rules will be a big part of the upcoming discussions. People familiar with the negotiations have mentioned a cap of about $20 million, formulated by taking about 22% of the average power conference school's main revenue streams. Caps are expected to rise with revenue across the next 10 years. According to Yahoo, a school's cap spending could include up to $5 million in education-related payments, known as Alston money, and additional scholarships. No collectives, the donor-funded groups that have paid quasi-salaries to athletes in revenue sports, should maintain a heavy influence in football and men's basketball recruiting. In the past month, settlement talks went into overdrive because the NCAA and the power conferences wanted to avoid a January trial at all costs. Given the NCAA's recent track record in court, the defendants clearly didn't like their chances. If they would have lost at trial, the damages would have tripled. They also would have had to pay them immediately instead of over a 10-year period. But in the past week, despite being happy with the overall outcome, non-power conferences have voiced displeasure about how the financial liability will be distributed. With the proposal, the NCAA, SEC, Big Ten, Big 12, ACC, and Pac-12 voted on, the power conferences will pay 40% of the damages owed from schools. The other 27 conferences will shoulder the remaining 60%. Beyond damages, the power conferences will pay for legal fees and the potential of scholarships. Many power conference schools would also spend to the revenue sharing cap. Because revenue sharing will be optional, lower revenue leagues are expected to refrain. Either way, the non-power conference's argument about the damages payments is simple. Not only are they not defendants in the suit, but a large share of the damages will be paid out to former power conference football and men's basketball players. Based on the numbers we have reviewed, the liability of the non-football bowl subdivision conferences under the proposed formula appears disproportionately high, particularly because the primary beneficiaries of the NL back pay amounts are expected to be FBS football players, Big East Commissioner Val Ackerman wrote in an email to her schools, which was first publicized by Yahoo on Sunday. Now back to the coffee time crew.
Well, on one hand, I am truly glad to see that, these young men out there risking, life and limb playing ball, especially on the football field. Sometimes they have, career-ending incidents, in college, and all their dreams and stuff go out of the way. So therefore, if they got a little something coming in, then hopefully, at least they'll have a nest egg, to fall back on, and as well as hopefully being able to continue their education. So,
Yeah, because you're right about that. I'm glad that they're getting paid because, look, when you're attending school, you're attending school. But when you're out on the field, you're actually working for the school. Instead of you actually going to go work in a business and getting paid, you're actually just going on the field and not getting paid at all. And you still might need, as a student, go get a job. So it could be a lot on your plate. This could loosen that up a little bit. And they're making a lot of revenue.
You all right over there, George?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just having an issue with my equipment here. I hear that feedback. I apologize for that. I don't know what it is.
That's why I was asking if you were okay. Plus, I know you're a big college sport fan, so I was hoping to get your input on this as well.
Well, for me, I do have a friend. Just a little caveat. I do have a friend that's he does play-by-play for UTEP and NMSU, and we were talking about this the other day actually. And his take on this is he fears for the small universities like the Austin Peay's and the Nacogdoches and all that, which are not in the powerhouse division. And like he was saying that when he's on the road with UTEP and the football, he sees a difference. I mean, like for example, he goes to Tulsa and he'll go to Notre Dame. There's a big difference regarding the alumni, the donors. So
the equipment and all
he was saying he just fears that the smaller schools are going to get the raw end of this. But for example, They say Alabama, right? But we'll compare Alabama,
Hmm.
UTEP. So they say Alabama, a kid's going to want to go there anyway. But if Alabama wanted to pay him big money instead of coming to UTEP, and I'll give you an example, Colorado is on the books, on the record, saying that to walk on right now is $50,000. So I just think it's good because they're getting paid. They have to get paid, like Mr. Davis was saying. It is a liability for the athlete. At the same time, when they come to the real world, I can tell you stories of how donors work around that rule now that they're open season.
Hmm.
It'd
Hmm.
be
Hmm. George, correct. They will work around those tools right there, those rules.
And right, they've been doing that for decades. So I mean, that's nothing new. It's just now it's taken out of the alumni's hands, in essence, I guess, and and putting it more in the college administration's hands or the athletic
and
department's
another
hands.
question I have, Mr. Davis. I'm not sure if everyone knows that Reggie Bush at one point was stripped of his Heisman because of that. He's apparently allegedly he took some payments or
Hmm.
something in
Hmm.
that realm. But now that it's legal, they went back and guess what? They gave him back his Heisman. So are they going to retroact all those violations and sanctions that they did? For example, even what's the other gentleman's name? I'm blank. The other Heisman Trophy. They took his trophy away for this season. So they're going to go back and correct all the errors, or just
Well, they
curious.
should, and I think they knew for a long time that the right thing would have been paying these athletes. They know for a
I
long
mean, for the most part, let's keep it 100, man. The colleges are sending the alumni, to do that. They're recruiting the alumni as, okay, well, we want to have a better football program or basketball program. We need you to run over here and see what you can do to get this guy or that guy.
And
And
like
what
you
are
said,
they?
that's been going on for years, if not years,
Exactly.
decades. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. I mean, okay, well, you know what? We're gonna buy your mama a house. We're gonna give you a car. We're gonna give your mama some money to where she can make sure you have money to live on while you're on campus. All this other kind of stuff. So it ain't like I said, all that stuff is nothing new. Now is taking it out and putting it back in the school's lap. At the same time, it's eliminating that rule, right, to where you can't do that because now they are doing it, right? So again, but I think the biggest issue is here the colleges don't like the idea they now have to slice up the pie.
yep, yes,
That
sir.
whole that pie used to belong to them and them alone. You
Exactly.
know,
No, and it's funny you say that, Mr. Davis, because remember back in the day, Pedro, did you in the past? Did you have vision in the past, Pedro?
Yeah.
Remember when they had the every year that come out was NCAA football, and they had a player on there, either a Heisman Trophy winner or they would have someone there. And
Hmm.
you're right, that's their likeness, and yet the colleges gave the money, and the player, like Mr. Davis says, folks, we have to remember these players are looking to go to the NFL. If that's their dream.
That's their goal.
And if you
right.
blow out your ACL or your meniscus, you're done. That's it.
Mm. You're done, and hopefully you're able to fall back on your education, but that's your dream. And look, playing for free, you're risking your health to get to that goal, but sometimes you need to go through the college so you could get recruited to the professionals.
Yes, sir.
And I also heard in the article where I don't know if you guys paid attention to it or not, but it seems like they getting ready to jack up the cost of education for these students because they're talking about what $5 million in scholarship or education related. You know what I'm saying? Come
Oh, I
on,
heard that.
man.
Yeah, I heard that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's sad because these top 12, these top 10, they're retainers. They're retainers, and their money that they have invested into that they get managed by these hedge fund managers. Man, these colleges have money,
yes, they do.
money, and and they don't want to share the pie. They want to increase to tuition, even to regular students. Man, colleges right now is ridiculously expensive. I know in other countries they do it slightly different. I know, like in England, if the college becomes one of the top five, and let's say it was Harvard, one of the top five, it would have became a public school, and they would have been the government would have told them, hey, you need to start letting in, your tuition needs to go lower, and let the regular folks in that can't afford it, because what they're in the long run, that is going to get everybody educated, no matter
Right.
how low in income bracket they are.
But
Right here.
Pedro, you just
Mm,
brought up something that I don't think anyone's really mentioned. You said the magic word public. What I mean by, like for us, like UTEP is a public university.
yes.
It has regions of Texas and whatnot. But Tulsa, not Tulsa. I'm blank. The word, the Horned Frogs, TCU. TCU is a private college.
Hmm.
So is the payouts going to be the same, or is it going to be different based on the
Well,
status of the school?
well, yeah, because it should kind of work that way, but the way I'm seeing is that these big colleges that have retaining the retainers and have money to spend on these players, they might be able to shuffle players more to their sports department than these public colleges. And we need to protect public colleges, and that's one thing. Our top colleges are all private colleges, you know
You're
and
right.
that's one of the problems we need to solve too, for the future of our community and our citizens in the United States, because only one class is getting that education, and that's the class if you have that moolah. And we need to balance that, because then if you see an application in front of you, you're hiring, you have a Harvard application, and then you have a CSU or a Cal State or whatever it may be, it might be a community college. Who you think is going to get hired?
Well, I mean, they're always going to select, especially, when it comes to law and medical or whatever, they're going to go with those Ivy Leagues that are better at that type of an education. But I want to point out something else that I heard in that article.
Hmm.
This is only for male basketball and football players.
Mm,
What about the
mm,
women?
mm.
I didn't catch that. You serious?
I
Yeah.
didn't catch that either. That's a good point, Ed. And I don't know how much they will make within the sport, within women in college. I don't know the numbers, but I know for guys with that March Madness and all that, hey, it's a big, big thing. People
Yeah.
gamble. It's a really big thing.
I mean, what was it? Just last year, a year before, the one lady that just got out of college and started a pro league, the WNBA. She was talking about how when they went to, the March Madness for, I guess the female equivalent, or I don't know if they're there at the same time or not, but because I'm not a big, follow it that like that. But they were saying their facilities were just totally different from the guys' facilities.
Yeah. Yes.
All the equipment that they had was all, old and hand me down, where the guys had all brand new stuff, you
And
know.
it is sad that that's what has happened, and it does happen. But I know for a fact that the women's basketball, one of their games, just beat the NBA in watch views, and everybody wanted a big ticket. So I know the college, the basketball lady, the one you just named, George, she's able to draw a crowd. So they're able to charge a little more for tickets, but hey, they should have a fair playing chance. They should be
Well,
getting new equipment, able, or at least usable, not old and beat up or whatever it may be.
I think that's a lot to do, regarding the women versus men, where women are not, equated to having the same attendance or same, quote unquote power when it comes to sports. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, uh, the Nielsen ratings, I guess you want to call them. But going beyond that, what was her name? Clark, I believe she came out of the NCAA this year. She went into the WNBA, and I think her base salary was like That could be wrong, Pedro. I think 300 to 400 or
Look it up,
500,000.
George.
Yeah, they had to because she's drawing a crowd,
Yes.
and they're making they stepping up to the NBA. The WNBA is coming foot to foot, like they're there. They just kind of suppressed them in their views, so it's getting popular, and I think more of a competition and things like that. I know some sports dudes that follow sports, and right now they said they're excited to see the lineup for the WNBA instead of the NBA, and I'm like, what?
So, on that note, do y'all go along with the thing that Ice Cube is saying about even like with his league that the NBA is, doing everything they can to suppress him in
Of
his league?
course, of course,
Oh, the
it's
big three.
competition. It's
Yeah.
competition. Yeah, hey, the way he has it set up, Ice Cube with the big three, it seems like they're always gonna be a dope game.
Do you guys, is that in California, guys, or I haven't really heard. I've heard of it, but do they play in California or not?
No, they play all over the country.
Yeah, they play all over the country. It's just
No, I'm saying that, but do they have a club in Los Angeles?
I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, why would they not? That's where Cuba's from,
Exactly.
But again,
and he's a Raiders fan.
of course he's a Raider fan.
Oh, by the way, he is just
shout out to Monica. Shout out to Monica.
But also, I mean, just let's keep it real. When we played in the streets back in the day, growing up, most of these guys that have made it to the NBA, where did they start? They started on the courts playing 3-on-3. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was your average team. You had you and two of your homeboys, and you guys just went to the park and just tried to dominate. You know what I'm saying? That's the way they grew up. So they say, and they don't have the rules that the NBA has. So they're able to, there's a lot more going on. There's a lot more action.
You're saying about the rules, Mr. Davis, just for those youngins. Back in the days, and I'm not sure how old you. Oh yeah, you remember this, Pedro. Back in the days, the NBA, your score was, I think, the max. If you scored like 90, you're like, wow, that's a lot. Now it's 130, 140, 150 because of the rules. Now, more or less, you can't touch them. It's a foul. You can't do this. It's a foul. But back in the day, folks, shoot, you could basically mug them.
Yeah, well,
and not be a foul.
Yeah, that's what people are saying about Cube's league. That it's more the rules are slightly loose, but the thing is, you get more of that dramatic and drama, like they're keeping up with each other, and you have good games. That's what you want. You want a good game. You don't want a game when you got two teams and one team got like 20 points, the other team's at 80, 60 points up. It makes it a slighted game, and you don't get to enjoy it. You don't get this, oh yeah, you don't get those moments. So a 3-on-3, the way that Cube is talking about it, the way I keep hearing people talk about it, because I haven't seen it. They do have it broadcast too in some channels, I heard, but not a lot. It's always a wonderful game. Plus, you got some of the top players that have retired from the NBA there too.
Right, but they're still physically fit.
Yes.
To play, but in NBA eyes, he's an old man. Let's time to go get us a new, some fresh blood.
Yeah, because the NBA has you practicing on the road. If you don't got a person cooking your food, you're eating junk food. It trashes your body, and the way Cube manages the league, I heard, is easier for them, even the ones that are retired. So I want to check that out. I want to bring some articles about that when I can, guys. But I'm glad that these athletes are getting paid. They should get paid.
Man, I am too. I mean, I think they deserve it. It's long overdue. It's time for the schools to start cutting that pie up and let somebody else eat as well. So
and that's the thing, Mr. Davis and Pedro, that people don't realize that these college kids, the top flight schools like Alabama, Florida State, Syracuse, these kids, folks, and the only reason I know is because when I was going to UTEP, I stayed at the dorms for one semester, and these guys are up at 4 a.m. They're running, and the season starts August, September. These guys are in full bloom June, July. So it's not like, oh, wake up tomorrow and go play. They got to train. They got to maintain their. So it's a job. It's a full-time, year-long job, and now that they're getting paid, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. And George, you're correct too. We need to protect the public schools, the colleges that are smaller. We need make sure they're protected when this program starts happening and the athlete starts getting paid, because it could become one-sided too, easily.
Yeah, I mean, again, they got to work. They got to get these guidelines, regulations in order. Like I said, they got to do everything they can to make it safe. And on that note, we are at the end of our time. And as you guys know, we will continue this conversation at a later date because that's just who we are, right? But anyway, so we want to thank you guys for joining us here on what we want to call it. Oh, it is Hump Day, Wednesday.
Remember, Hump goes nearest to you.
Okay.
Hump goes next to you. If you know them. Because then it could be trouble.
That's right. So anyway, on that note, everybody have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow on the next one. Remember, we only have one interest group for the rest of this week, and that'll be movie night on Friday night at 6 p.m. So tune in tomorrow for another coffee time. Don't forget us on Friday and watch a movie with us. So on that note, Pedro, George, appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one.